Hello, my name is Mike Stevens. I am doing this video at the request of Mr. Rock Jolly with Cross Power. The purpose of this video is to explain the ministry called the Tanzania Toolbox. The Tanzania Toolbox was started 5-6 trip to Tanzania, where I went to assist in the completion of an orphanage
that was being built in Morogoro, Tanzania. When I arrived in Tanzania, I found out that the tool belt that I took with me was the only tool that I would have during that work. I found out there was the second hammer, the second screwdriver, and the second saw that the men had in order to build this orphanage. During my stay there, I assisted in doing some of the building of the orphanage that was later completed. But upon leaving, I left my tool belt there, thinking that I probably would not ever be back in Africa. But several months later, God spoke to me and said, "You're going back, and when you go, you need to take some tools." One day while at Lowe's, I started looking at some of my favorite tools and kept thinking about what would they need in order to build a school now that they had an orphanage. So that's when I thought about, God placed on my heart a ministry which I then titled the Tanzania Toolbox. So prior to the next trip, I went to Lowe's, picked out all the hand tools you needed in order to build your own house in Tanzania. And these tools were a hammer, pliers, trowel, utility knife, screwdriver, tool belt, pencils, hand saws, files, squares, T-squares, carpenter squares, a level, and a measuring tape. The tools, for one set of these tools, the price was $100. And that's when I started setting aside funds to purchase 20 sets of these tools. On my next trip to Tanzania, which was for 30 days, I scheduled a 1-week course with 20 men. And during that week, I taught them the basic functions of each tool and how to take care of the tool. And then I had them complete a project that required the use of the tools to show that they did indeed know how to use the tools. When the classroom time was finished, we went out to the African bush near the orphanage, and we started building a school. In 3 weeks, we had finished 4 classroom walls, which was indeed a miracle. At that time, I then instructed the 20 men that the tools that they used in the classroom now belonged to them, plus I paid their salary. And that was my first year. I've gone back since, and my last, probably final mission trip will be in December. I will be going to supervise the construction of a water tower. I've already set funds ahead of time to purchase materials, and once the water tower is complete, then we will be able to open up the school. Our plan at this point is to open the school for approximately 300 children. These children, in order to qualify to go to the school, must show that they do not have sufficient funds to pay for public education. This school will be free of charge, self-supporting school under the auspices of the Bishop of Tanzania, the Bishop of the Assemblies of God. The teachers will be taken from the church called Bethel Temple in Morogoro. And one thing I would like to go ahead and just read is that one of the statements that I have on my brochure, it says, "In America, we have an abundance of tools. Look around your homes and garages. How many hammers or saws do you see? If you have more than 2 or 3, you have more than the group of men that I worked with in building an orphanage in Tanzania. Check your junk drawers in your workshop. How many screwdrivers and tape measures can you locate? You may have more than the whole village that I was in. My mission is to teach the villagers to fish, so to speak. However, you cannot fish without the proper tools. With the provision of the Tanzania Toolbox and the necessary training, we can be a part of creating a mission field with a skilled workforce. While in a Catholic orphanage administered by an order of loving nuns, I was taught to take pride in my work and the tools that God had supplied. God has ordained that I now be allowed to teach men, some men from an orphanage in Tanzania, how to use tools so that they can become productive citizens. The mission is to teach these men how to use and care for the tools they need to become skilled workers. I am willing to go. Will you help me buy the tools? All men desire to provide for their families. Let us work together to restore pride and dignity for this village. In Tanzania, employment is a sign of dignity. Success is defined as a man who is skilled in a trade that allows him to feed his family, not just for today, but for a lifetime. As a final note, my whole purpose in this is if I can take a man and I can improve his skills, that means he can now support his family. If he can support his family, he can become a contributing member of his town. If he can become a supporting member of his town, that means he's also is able to support the country he lives in. Tanzania is a beautiful country, and it has its own share of problems. But I think one man at a time is the answer to fixing most of the problems that are there in Tanzania. Take care. May God bless.